That was very close. I would have done this whole thing and not have recorded it. So everyone would get the recording, the presentation slides, and then any other goodies or resources. Sometimes there are questions asked in a webinar like this that I don't have the answers to right then and there, or it's not covered, that I'll say, oh, I'll find the link and send it out afterwards. But you will receive an email with everything today. That way you can refer back to it too. So it is a smaller group, so you don't necessarily have to have your video off. Usually if there's large groups that say, video off and microphone off, as we know how that background noise can be. But if you want to leave your video on, you're perfectly fine to do that today. I think all of our internet could handle the size of the group. My last webinar, we had over 20 people attend the live one. And so I said videos off because I don't think even my internet sometimes can't always keep up with all the videos, the voice, and the slide or the screen I'm sharing. So in the chat, I would love to know more about what did you do for your 2021 marketing? And those are just some examples. Like, okay, I did some social media, obviously my website, I made sure it was relevant and applicable, or I grew it some more, or I did some SEO. So those are just some examples. I can even talk about a bit on what I did for 2021. So obviously social media and trying to do consistent social media. I have obviously my website, which I should give it a bit more love. My portfolios on my website are, especially my web design ones, are very out to date. So I've made that a priority for this year to update my portfolio. SEO is still on my list for 2022. Email newsletters, I try to do a monthly email newsletter. And I've actually been really consistent for almost a year now, other than the summer when I took a break. I've had co-op students since the spring. So really from the spring on, I've done a monthly email newsletter because I need to give them work to do. So I'm really proud of that. I've actually been consistent with that. We do a monthly blog post. I have some magazine stuff that is for 2022. Networking is a huge part of my marketing and what I do and how I make those connections. What else for us? SEO. Yeah, I definitely have people saying right now that they are finding me on Google, and then that's how they've contacted me. I'm like, yes. So it's just nice to know what did you do? What did you do? What was some things you tried out? I'm just going to pull that up here. I'm looking at it online. So we have some social media. We grew our Google pages. And then the nonprofit. Yep, great. There's some social media, email newsletters, magazine ad, website's ongoing. Website is a never-ending project. As someone who builds them every day, they're always changing, and that's the whole point. Some social media, obviously website, and some emails. That's great. Social media, sent out newsletters. Social media, website, Google My Business, yes. Networking, yes. Email newsletter. And walking in community and going door to door. Yes, that's on my list, because for some of us businesses, having that personal connection or that face-to-face is huge, especially if your business is new. So I moved here in March 2020. So people want to meet me. People want to see who I am. And once they made that connection, it's great. So that's one of the things I would like to do also, is go door to door in certain areas of the business areas of Brantford and, come with a little package, say hi. But because of the pandemic, I had to scratch that off my marketing plan for 2020 and most of 2021 too. But those can go a long way for a lot of businesses. We got some Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, but took a break. And I want to get back into more promoting. Yes, great. So it's just nice to know. And so I will be showing you my Google Analytics and my Facebook Insights and my MailChimp after we go through this, just so you can actually see some things in action, what I'm looking at, and what does it mean for me for 2021, 2022 as an example. So a little bit about me, even though I'm pretty sure everyone on here knows me. So my name is Samantha Gernhardt. I own Clarity Marketing and Design. And we moved from British Columbia to Ontario, March 2020. So we're coming on 2 years. My Facebook memories just showed me the other day that we bought our house 2 years ago. Oh my gosh, it's already gone by so fast. I've been in business for over 16 years. So this coming summer will be my 17th year in business. I don't know where the time has gone. There was no plan of being in business this long. There was no plan of ever having a business. It really came and fell on my lap, and I've really tried to just go with it. When I describe to people what I do marketing, web, and graphics. Those are my 3 categories. The things I don't do would be photography, or if someone wants a video made for their business. Not quite me, but we definitely have people in the community that can. But when it comes to marketing, web, and graphics, I do it all. My background in education is in marketing management and applied web development. So I code websites. That's how I started off making websites, was hand coding them in HTML and CSS, the really nerdy stuff. And right now I'm actually teaching 3 courses with Conestoga College in their web development program. So I'm actually teaching 3 courses, doing what I do all day. One's a project course, one's a WordPress course, which that's what I mainly work in when I make websites. So I was so excited. All these students in my WordPress course have never touched it, or many of them haven't heard about it. And then I have like an HTML CSS course, and they are first semester students with the program. And then I have my own WordPress course that I put together. I just launched a couple weeks ago, and it's more meant for entrepreneurs and small businesses to teach them how to create their own WordPress website. I'm a busy mom to 3 kids. My oldest will be 10 after my birthday, which is tomorrow. So February 7th, he turns 10. My oldest is going to be double digits. Oh, 6 more years and he's driving. And I really love sharing the knowledge. That's why I do a lot of webinars. If you've been following me in the last year at least, I've done webinars through the Brantford Resource Center. I've done webinars of my own. I actually have a webinar in March with the Laurier Women's Entrepreneurship Center. I really do like sharing the knowledge. I've been doing this for 16 years, and I don't believe in hoarding any of the knowledge or hoarding the tips. There's no purpose to that. And I also teach at colleges in the past. So I teach at Conestoga, and I'm also still teaching online with the college in my last community in BC. So I'm still teaching all over the place. And if you've ever taken any of my webinars before, you know I love to like throw these little stats in there. It's the nerdy side of me. I'm fascinated with stats. So web traffic is among, so I'm just moving my videos there, among the 2 top most common measurements of success for content marketing strategies. So content would be your blogs, possibly, and they use their website traffic to see and to measure how that is working. I keep clicking away, and then there we go. So let's talk about why review your marketing. Now, us marketers would usually say, all of us should have our marketing planned for the whole year already. No. Especially with the pandemic, we can't plan too far out because it's always changing, especially for those businesses that keep having to close. So I would suggest for the next little bit, just look at a couple months worth of your marketing. I'm not saying plan your social media out right to the T for the next 3 months. No. But the more that you can plan a little bit ahead, the more that you are on top of more. Say you want to do a magazine ad. Well, they definitely are always doing quite a few months ahead of time. So why are we reviewing it in the first place? You stand more of a chance of reaching your goals. You'll know what works and what doesn't. That is the main thing. You're going to know what works, what doesn't, and what to do next. It forces you to be data influenced. A lot of marketing people like me, and even just small businesses, forget that there's a whole analytics side of marketing. So to post and walk away, well, what is it doing? Did anyone like it? Like, should we do more of those? The blog posts, did anyone read the blog post? And so we need to the other half of marketing is looking at the numbers. You can revise your business marketing strategy. If something's not working and you're really putting a lot of time or potentially money into it, let's change that. So if it's not working, get it out of there. It will make you a better marketer, not only for what I do, but just as your business. The more that you know how things work and what we're looking at and why, the more power it gives you and the motivation and drive to refine it or to do more of that and to hopefully find a little fun in marketing your business. And it provides an indication of what activities should be used in the future, right? So what works, what isn't, and what are we going to continue to use? And so once again, anytime you have questions, throw them in the chat. And once I've done my bit, there will be about 15 to 20 minutes at minimum of times for questions and stuff. But even if it might be answered later on, throw it in there just in case, that we don't forget. So as I talk about it and over the next little bit, or if you do any research, you're going to see marketing analytics and marketing metrics. So let's cut that up a bit and so that we can talk about what those are and the difference. Marketing analytics is a measure of the effectiveness of an organization's marketing strategies to ensure that marketing dollars are being spent wisely. Marketing metrics are quantifiable or measurable values that organizations can compare to use to make decisions about their products or their marketing strategies. So we'll dive a little bit more into each of those. Marketing analytics. Analyzing the present. Analyze data from current campaigns and activities in order to get a clear picture of where their marketing activities stand and to compare them to past campaigns. In this case, they'll be focused on website traffic and sources for it, and social media engagement and click-throughs, as well as the current state of the sales pipeline and revenue metrics. So we're analyzing what we're currently using, currently doing. So that's what I said. What'd you do for 2021 for your marketing? Reporting on the past. Reported analytics at the completion of campaigns, focusing on information like lead conversion, customer lifetime value, and the sales funnel churn rate. And then predicting for the future. Analytics to help plan successful future marketing activities. This type of analytics will include possibly lead scoring, target content distribution, upselling, and where the data sells with the model. So we're looking at analyzing the present, reporting on the past, so we can use that information of what to do for the future. Why is it important? So why are our analytics important for our marketing? It gives marketers and small business owners, anyone who's doing the marketing, doesn't have to be a marketer, the information they need to plan successful marketing campaigns and carry out activities that will help them reach their strategic goals. Without marketing analytics, marketing departments, people, small business owners would be reliant on guesswork to make choices about how to spend the marketing budget, what channels to use to promote their brand, and what customers to target to reach the best outcome. Without the analytics, we have no clue what is working. We have no clue if anyone is looking at that. And with our analytics, we can actually see like their location, male or female, all those kind of details for us to hone in on that target. So once we have some analytics and we have able to look at them and see those numbers, what kind of action can we take? So these are just some examples. Maybe we need to incorporate some keywords into our website and our products in our Google business listing. Maybe there was some really successful marketing strategies or campaigns that you did that you can actually replicate because it went really well. And you can use that system you put into place to launch that product or service for the new one. Maybe we need to engage in new markets. Maybe there's an opportunity there based on what we find in our analytics that is an opportunity. We can optimize our CRM, or maybe we need to adjust a product or service depending on, was it popular? Was it not? Is anyone even looking at it? So those are just some of the actions we can take based on what the numbers are saying. The video will be the top investment for brand business to business brands in 2022. As we hear, many marketers like me are saying video is king right now. It helps make that connection. It helps let someone get to know you through a video. And Instagram and Google and a lot of those sources right now are putting video on the top. They want more. So if you're doing more video, it can help your SEO. It can help our social media. They're making it that we have to do more video. And I know for some, it's like, I don't want to do it. So now we look at the marketing metrics. So we looked at marketing analytics, and then there's marketing metrics. So according to a Google study done in partnership with the MIT, 89% of leading marketers use strategic metrics like gross revenue, market share, or customer lifetime value to measure the effectiveness of their campaigns. Some of the benefits of using these and other metrics include having data to support informed decision-making, knowing which channels provide the highest return of investment, justifying marketing spend and overall budget allocations, increasing results across the board, or honing in on where and how to maximize lead conversion. And so as marketers, we try to provide reports to our clients. You should be receiving some sort of reports if you are outsourcing any sort of your marketing. That way you can see what they've done, what didn't work, what does work, especially if you're paying for things, whether it's ads, whether it's someone to help you with your marketing or someone to do some social media, you should be receiving some sort of report. And if it's stuff that you're going to be managing, I will show you where we can find some of those numbers. But we want to make it very clear. If you're paying for something, whether it's Google Ads or anything, you definitely want to be measuring this or looking at it because it's costing you money. And if you're doing it yourself, that's still costing you time. So how do we set our key marketing metrics? It really comes down to goals and focus. And so for goals, let's just say your goal is to increase sales by 5% this quarter. This is just an example. Tracking the number of likes on your recent Instagram posts wouldn't be your top priority. So by choosing marketing metrics that are directly connected to your desired outcome. Also, don't forget about strategy. When outlining your goals, it's good to know how you'll pursue them. Whatever strategy you choose will also determine which marketing metrics are best. So keep that in mind. If we want to get more website visits to our website, then I wouldn't be measuring something that has nothing to do with that. So in the above example, again, if you know that BOFU, so bottom of the funnel content, such as a blog post on competitor alternatives that heavily feature your product is part of your strategy, then you will want to monitor metrics such as call to action link clicks, page views, and average time on page. That would also, all those little things would be in your possibly Google Analytics for your website. So what your goal is will also determine what are we measuring to see if we're hitting that goal. And then it's focus. So marketers get really excited about tracking. We really do. Good marketers really do, because it proves what we're doing is working. We're not working. We want to be able to prove to you that we've done a really good job and that it's been successful. And like, see, I told you if you just did that video that we would get all those people, whatever it could be. But we really do enjoy our numbers and our tracking. It's the knowledge is power, and it's natural to want to know what's going on in every facet of your business. So numbers are great in the sense of, like I said, for us marketers to show that it's working. But the more you know how it all works, how it all connects, where to access it, it's more power for you. But we know from personal experience that it's often time consuming and counterproductive to chase every metric just because you think you should. And the same goes, like, say, for social media. When people need to get on social media, at one point, we thought we had to be on all of them, Pinterest and Twitter and. But we do find now, even for myself, I don't have all those things. I don't have time to do all those things. So I'm focusing on certain social media accounts and profiles for my business that works and that I've seen that works. So here's some examples of some marketing metrics. And not all of these will apply to every single type of business. Some will be lead generation type, business to business, or larger enterprises. But these are just some examples of some marketing metrics we can look at. I'm not going to cover them all. We are going to go over some though. And once again, you will be emailed the slideshow after. So we got cost per acquisition, cost per lead, customer lifetime value, click-through rate, and some of those, if you ever dabble into Google and Google Ads, that some of those get pulled in for you to be able to really figure out your cost and your budget and everything. Some of those things you actually need to figure out. We got click-through rates, bounce rate. So that is when someone lands on our website and gets right off. Goal completions, lead to customer conversion rate, multi-touch attribution, engaged time, quality of inbound links, social media engagement, unengaged subscribers, website conversion rate, MQL to SQL ratio, and internal metrics. But I am going to cover a couple of these. So let's kind of just cut that down a bit. So which ones should you be looking at possibly for now? Because not all of that list will apply. So here are a few KPIs to focus on. And these are more to do with engagement. So we have our click-through rate. It's a good KPI for measuring the engagement of anything from landing pages to emails and ads. It measures the percent of people who click on the link they saw. We have our bounce rate. The percent of website visitors who leave your site only visiting one page. And this is, we can see this in our Google Analytics. So if there's some pages that aren't really getting any traction, why? Do you need that on there anymore? Maybe it needs a little refresh. Maybe it needs some proper SEO done on it. Especially if they're coming to your home page and they're bouncing right off. Well, why? Possibly you have Google Ads, but what the Google Ads says and what they end up visiting aren't related. So it could be a lot of reasons why you have a high bounce rate. And those are really crucial. The more that people bounce off our site, the more Google search engine is taking that into consideration. Time on site and pages per site. So measuring engagement with your website can be determined by how long and how deeply a visitor explores your site. How many pages are they going in? What's their journey? Are people clicking on, like, do they just go there in your services? Are they going to the home and then contact? And then we have our social media likes and replies. On social media, number of followers is far less important than the number of people who are engaging with your content through likes, replies, and shares. They're doing some sort of action. So these are the ones that I look at the most. Definitely my website analytics. I look at my Instagram insights or stats or analytics, different words for them. My Facebook business page insights. And then because I do a monthly email newsletter, I look at those stats also. Most common, those are the ones I'm looking at a lot because I am utilizing those things. Oops. So I'm gonna, I already have my stuff open, so I'm just gonna get out of here. Now I'm gonna show you my analytics here from my website. I'm gonna stop my own video here. Okay, because I have to get close to the screen so I can see it. This is Google Analytics. It is free. You can use it with any website, and it's with your Google account. So that could be an actual, personal Gmail account or with a Google Workspace. And it's very easy to connect it to your website. I connect it to all of my clients' websites, regardless if they actually think they need any analytics, but then at least it's there. Because once you've connected it, you can only track data from the time you've connected it and on. It can't do any previous history. So whenever I finish a site and I hand it over, I immediately get it connected to Google Analytics and I give that client access, because you just never know, and it's better to have it set up from day one. Okay, so this is where we land. And I do have a separate blog post where I actually go through it more in detail. So I'll be sure to include that in the email that goes out. But I look here is one of the big things. This is our audience overview. So this is just telling me who's coming to the site and when. This is when I should see a spike if I promoted a blog post and it's on my site, or if I sent out an email newsletter. I should see some sort of spikes when I do stuff like that that targets my website. And sometimes you see a spike and you're like, okay, so what went on that day? Did I post something, or am I directing people to my site? So this is just people coming to my site. And to be, really in general, you'd hope to see that increase. You'd hope to see it increase. You'd hope to see numbers go up. Maybe that's your goal, that, hey, for the next couple of months, we just want to hit last month's visitors. Another area in my Google Analytics is this acquisition. How are people getting to my site? This is really important too. Especially if you're paying for things, or you're spending a lot of time on your social media, or you've paid for it, like say a directory. So you have a listing of someone else's website, like a directory, and it's costing you to do that. Are you getting any clicks from there? So this is really helpful. So I could choose the date, as you can see. So most people are coming directly. So that is where they just type in www.claritydesigns.ca. I have a little bit of referral and then my organic. So they are searching for me in Google, and I'm actually showing up in organic. So that's organic. That's not Google ads at the top. That is not my Google business listing. That is where I have actually put time in for my own SEO, and it shows up all below that stuff. And then social, this is our social media. But I've connected my Google Analytics to my Google business listing so that I can actually see if someone goes to my Google business listing and they come to my site, I have set that tracking up, which I have a video on that. I have to remember where I got it from. I have it set up somewhere in here, but it allows me, source medium, allows me to see, because I've set up this little code. This is it here, which is great. Even though Google Business Listing is free, I'm going to just go a couple back months. Like, do I need to put more time in my Google Business Listing? Do I need to make sure I have it up to date? Or is anyone even looking at it? Well, apparently they are. Okay. I won't go too in depth because I do have a separate whole blog post and video on this, but just to show you, like, this is important stuff. And I do like to look at location. If I'm targeting Brantford, that's where I'm really trying to put my time and my effort. Is anyone even coming to my website in that area? And sometimes this shows people that there's an opportunity. I had a client where she targeted the Waterloo Kitchener. She had a whole bunch of Toronto people coming to her site. And I said, that could be an opportunity. So for me, Brantford should be my number one. And if it's not, oh, have I messed something up? What are my keywords saying? Do I have Brantford wording? Like, am I missing something? And then in the slides, there was that mention of the different pages. So what are my top pages? So I went into here recently and I realized that people are really going to that web design portfolio. And then I went to my web design portfolio and I'm like, oh no, I really need to update this. Oh gosh. So now that's on my to-do list because people are actually going to it. It's one of the top 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, one of the top 5. And it's been on my to-do list to update my website portfolio. So this also shows me that where I need some work on, even on my own site. At one point, I think when I did look, my web design portfolio was above them going to my services. So it's almost like they went to my homepage, went to about, and then my web design portfolio. I'm going, oh gosh, people are actually going to it. So I will include that blog post in the email that goes out. If you don't receive the email, just look in your junk. But then I also have the blog post on my actual website that goes more into detail of what I look at on my Google Analytics and why. And it also talks more about the different metrics on Google Analytics. But I just wanted to really show it to you that it is a crucial thing for your site. Then we have our Facebook pages insights. And I can't really pull up Instagram insights on a desktop because they don't have that capability yet. But it would be very similar, but you would access that through your mobile. So I come in here often to look at what is going on with my social media. Because it will tell me what stuff is getting the most engagement. And I might want to continue to do more of that. And then what stuff is not getting anything? Well, okay, maybe I won't put my time too much into this. So where we can kind of find that out is here. Go into your posts. And we get this little graph list. So this is reach. So how far did it go? How many people saw it? And by someone sharing a post of yours, that's more reach and more reach and more reach. And then here, engagement, some sort of action, a like, a comment, they have engaged, they take some sort of action. So even here, we can see which ones have the highest. So this one's talking about my webinar post, but I shared it to some groups because it's a free thing, a free resource, a free event that anyone can take part in. So I shared it to some business groups. So you can see that when you share to some groups, look at my reach compared to when I just keep it on my own profile. Let's see what another high one is. Okay, so the next one is this quote. It was a quote, a Betty White quote. It had nothing to do with my business. It did not promote my business. But look at the reach and then engagement. 15 compared to I only get a couple each time. So, okay, maybe I want to do more quotes. And that was actually the same for my Instagram. A couple months ago, I had shared a woman supporting woman quote. I had never had so many shares or so many organic views or reach or impressions on my Instagram than this quote. I'm like, oh, I need to do more of these because that's what's getting the engagement. And really, when it comes to our social media, we do want to share a little bit of everything. It's not always just sales, sales, sales. It's some quotes or some tips. There's a lot of different ways you can incorporate. But this allows me to see what has worked really well, and maybe I want to do more of that, and what hasn't. Once again, this was promoting my WordPress course that I launched. I shared it to some groups. So when you share things, you can see that the reach just grows. And that was just some Facebook groups. So don't count out Facebook. Don't count out Facebook groups. I see a lot of people that they just focus on their Instagram and their Facebook page just pulls the post. No, 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 no. They need both equal amount of time because this could be two separate markets for you, two separate opportunities. Those are two separate avenues. So treat them like two separate avenues. Okay, next, my MailChimp. So in my MailChimp, which regardless of what type of email marketing platform you use, I'm using MailChimp, you will get stats. So once I've sent something out, I can come back in here. So my went to 341 recipients and I had 119 opens and 6 clicks. So it gives you a percentage. So my opens were 35.1%. MailChimp has some stats on what is the benchmarks, like what's the average open rate for your type of industry. So I'll definitely include this in the email. So if I even go marketing, trying to find my, there you go. There's my category. So it's saying the open rate is actually on average 17%. Just going to double check that that column is the open rate. Yeah, average open rate, and then we go average click rate. So I got 70% and 2% click rate. Okay, so then let's, sorry, my Zoom bar is too far down. I can't, and it won't move. So I had a 13%, 35% instead of 17%. And, you know, my clicks were a little low. So that's like my little benchmark of like, hey, did that work out really well? I had my Christmas one. So 33% open rate. So some of them do way better than the average rate for my type of industry, and some not so much. Then that will, you know, help me see what else could I be doing. You can even go into each one further to see, like, did I have any people unsubscribe? How many bounced back? How many were undelivered? And I'm just trying to find it on here, the review report. I usually, once I've sent out an email through MailChimp, I use their iPhone app to monitor the stats. But you can also access them here, as you can see. I do get all this information through the iPhone app also. It also gives me like, was it skimmable? Apparently it wasn't, but I did okay with the other ones. So MailChimp really tries to help you maximize. I can see, okay, how many links did I have in there and which ones got the most clicks? And I find the one that will have the most clicks is the first one. So if you look over on the right there, it gives you a little preview. So that my logo links to my website. That gets clicked the most. When you send an email newsletter, make sure every image in that email newsletter is clickable and it goes somewhere. Because in an email newsletter, we click. And so I will see people that send one out and that nothing's clickable except for like some text or buttons. Like, no, you got to make the images clickable too, because they do click it. And then the next top one is what I call my feature part, as you know, the reason I'm sending out the newsletter, the biggest topic, what I'm really trying to get across in my newsletter. But then as you scroll down in my email newsletter, people click less and less. So you definitely want to put your most important stuff with your newsletter at the top. But I need to monitor this. Which email newsletter did the best? And how can I perhaps send out something again? So my Happy Holidays one probably did one of the best. My New Year one, it also comes down to the subject that I have in it. And first, we want to make them open it. So you got to make that subject in a way that they're going to open it. And then the next step is to get them to click. Okay, well, I think that's it for me and my presentation. That leaves us 15 minutes for questions or any other resources I can send out. If anyone has a question, you can definitely unmute. You can put it in the chat. There's not overly too many of us in here, so you can definitely, you know, get your videos back on. I just really hope that was helpful for you to maybe start looking at those analytics to see what worked, what didn't, so we can do more of the good stuff and don't spend time on the stuff that costs us money and isn't getting us any type of return or anything. Open everything back up. We do have some questions here. So I have the sun in my face, as you can see. There we go. I'm being blinded as I'm trying to look at my, oh, there we go. What is the real estate open rate? Let's see. I'm going to go control, find, there it is. Oh, I didn't spell it right, but it's there. So the open rate for real estate on average, these are just industry benchmarks so that you can have at least some sort of starting point. We're looking at 19% 0.17%. So you can just say 19%. And then the click-through rate is 1.7. So it's under 2. And so you can take a look at your platform that you're using, like, where are we at? But once again, these are, you can take it with a grain of salt, in a sense of like, really under, above. But it's nice just to have an idea of like, what is the industry benchmark with open rates and click-through rates for our email newsletters. Any other questions? Any other resources I can send out? Any topic ideas for our next webinar in February? Any big questions like what I just went over that you're like, I need more info?
Actually, do you have, are you familiar with Instagram?
Yes.
Like maybe a focus on like Instagram?
Yes, I actually have, I not too long ago did a private training session with the College of the Rockies for the Kootenai Library Federation, and they wanted just like a 2-hour Instagram only, because I find that's where a lot of people are at. They're like, okay, I got the Facebook, I've got that down pat, especially with Instagram, especially with Reels. Reels are the top of their priority now, and utilizing our stories. And I even like pulled up each of their profiles in the course to kind of point out some things they were missing right then and there. So Instagram is definitely a really important one for people because that's what they're making it, right?
Yeah. I found I got more engagement with Instagram than anything like Twitter or Facebook.
Yes, and that's what a lot of people are saying, and that's why I do understand when people are focusing more on Instagram. But if you're going to have Facebook, it needs just as much love and effort as Instagram. So one of my questions is what I always say to people, because I've seen this happen, and I don't know about you, but I see a lot of people on Instagram right now getting their accounts hacked, and they're losing it completely, to the point that the other day I put in the double like verification for my Instagram, because I've seen so many people getting their accounts hacked and then they have to start over. And so my question for you to think about later is, let's say you're focused on Instagram. Out of all the social media, this is an example that you're focusing only on Instagram. Facebook pulls your posts, but you're not, it's not where you get your sales. You don't give it any time. You're focused on Instagram. But let's say something happened to your Instagram account and it completely closed up and you had to start over. Are you hooped? If you're hooped, and the answer is yes, if you're like, oh my gosh, that would be it. Like, that'd be my lifeline right now. That's where I put all my time, my effort. That's how I grow my business. That's where I get my business from. So if the answer is yes, I would be completely hooped, then that's where you need to re-look at your marketing. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Instagram is just an avenue of our marketing. Facebook is an avenue. Email newsletters is an avenue. Blogging, our SEO, is to get all that to the website. And so if one of those things that you're focusing on, let's say, okay, we only do email newsletters, that's all our focus, that's where we get all of our business from. We don't really do social media, whatever. But if one day that went away, would you be hooped? And if the answer is yes, then you need to reevaluate what you're doing with your marketing and spread it out a little bit more, because putting all of our eggs in one basket, it can happen, and it possibly will happen to you, and you don't want that. So for me, if my Instagram went poof, I'd be okay. If my Facebook page went poof, I'd be okay. Yeah, I'd have to start over and grow it again, but it's not my lifeline of how I get my business. So keep that in mind when you are planning or putting all your focus into one thing. What if one day it was not there anymore? Okay, let's see what else we have here. How Google Docs works. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Shows up 2 times on Google. Let's see what else we got here. So we got a MailChimp one would be great. Yes. Because even just like we have to write catchy subject lines, and how do we stay out of the spam folder, and then how do we get them to click? If we get them to open, how do we get them to click? And so maybe, yeah, that is a good one. I think we will definitely do a MailChimp one over those next couple months. And I say MailChimp just because most people start off with MailChimp because it is free up to a certain amount of subscribers. And there are so many different email marketing platforms like Constant Contact and stuff. I find the most popular one, especially for small businesses, they start on MailChimp. Any other questions? Do you find that clickable posts or buttons on websites or social media are helpful for engagement? So especially if you do have, say, an email newsletter, you want to have that connected to the site. So anytime I do finish up someone's website, we make them a MailChimp account and we connect the two. That way, if someone goes to your site, they can, connect with you and sign up for an email newsletter. I also have my email sign up form in my Instagram link in bio. So if you click on my link in bio, I'm using Linktree. That allows me to have different locations to send them. And one of them is sign up for my email newsletter. You can even make social media posts saying, hey, sign up for our email newsletter, click here, or you have the direct link. So there's different ways to promote your email list to grow that list organically, or some sort of ebook or some sort of PDF download or checklist or guide to try to get them to sign up and for that item, but then make sure they are aware that they get added to the email list. I'm trying to see what else it says here. For me, email lists work very well, but I do monthly email, but it's just a component of what I do. It's a component of what I use in my marketing. But you definitely want it connected to your social media and your website. Otherwise, how are people going to sign up? So when it comes to Google, someone says here that their Google page shows up 3 times on Google. Dealing with Google is not fun. Some people are like, I have a bad review on my Google. This is how to get rid of it. Like, you can follow the steps through Google, but there's a good chance it'll stay there. I had someone where she has 2 businesses out of her location. So she has 2 different Google My Business listings. And for one, the one didn't show up for a while. It sent them somewhere else. There is a lot of issues with the Google Business listing in the sense of trying to get to show up where it's supposed to be. Sometimes it shows up multiple times. And unfortunately, it's very tough to streamline that or fix those things because you have to deal with Google and get reviews. So if you don't need those 3 separate pages, then you'd want to try to get access to delete some of those pages. And sometimes that could be the issue is I didn't make it. The person who made it and have access to it no longer works there. That does happen a lot. And so if you only need the 1 page, I would definitely recommend trying to delete those other pages, those other locations. So it's not confusing for people either. So a little bit of Googling might help that. Okay, so someone said, how do you connect the 2? Which 2 are you referring to? Like your MailChimp and website? Okay, and what is your website in? So what? Shopify, WordPress. So there is actually a plugin that I use to connect it. I do have some videos on it, so I'll make a note to send that directly to you. So the videos, it's very simple. All right. Anything else I can help you with today? Any other questions? If you have any other topic ideas for my coming months, let me know. MailChimp is awesome and Instagram one is awesome. And I think I will have some more webinars upcoming with the BRC too. They just asked me about something. I think we're going to do a Google ads versus Facebook ads because we get a lot of that where people go, okay, I need to advertise. I got to get in Google. But Google ads and social media ads are very different. They are completely separate and they're for different purposes. And so we're going to be doing a webinar on when to use those, why, and what are the differences? Because people always just assume Google ads and it doesn't always, it's not always the right next steps or the right platform for where they're at in their business and what the goal is of what they're trying to advertise. So that'll be coming up in, I think, February. All right. Well, thank you so much. Once again, you will receive an email within the next 24 hours of the recording, the presentation slides, and any of these other things I said. Oh, I'll put that in the email. And then just stay connected for our next one. And any feedback is great, or any other topic ideas you have. But that covers what I wanted to chat about today.